Hey guys, today I'm super excited to give you my 10 most emotional moments of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. This movie hit US theaters this weekend, and so I am thrilled to finally be able to dive into spoilers with you guys. So fair warning, if you have not already seen this movie and you want to stay away from spoilers, which trust me, you do, avoid this video at all costs, but come back later, please. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, and then just come back later, bookmark this one. But yeah, I'm going to dive into some major spoilers as I go through my 10 most emotional moments of The Suicide Squad. I'm excited, you guys. Let's talk about it. Hey, Tessa from MamasGeeky here. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel. Okay, so I really literally could say that this entire movie was one giant emotional moment for me. From the moment it started, I mean, it dives right in and it goes full James Gunn, and it is so glorious. It is absolutely fantastic from beginning to end. I loved the gore and the blood and the heart and the emotion, and it was like, how is so much incredibleness, that's the word I'm using. How is so much incredibleness going on in the Suicide Squad? Like, literally, there wasn't a dull moment for me. So I was really, really excited about that. But in narrowing it down, and trust me, this was so hard in choosing my 10 most emotional moments, but I love to do these videos for you guys. Now, if this is the first time you are watching a 10 most emotional moments video, know that it goes from not like the most emotional to the least emotional or vice versa. This is the order they occur in the film, so to speak. As much as I can remember, some things might be a little flip-flopped, and like I said, for me this one was hard because I basically could have chosen the entire movie, and honestly, if you ask me tomorrow my most emotional moments, I might even change some out because this film was just a ball of emotions, all sorts of emotions for me. But let's start it off with the first most that's a tongue twister. First most emotional moment that I want to talk to you guys about, and that is the beach scene. Because what? So yes, we've got the opening with Michael Rooker. He kills that little bird. I still think James Gunn hates birds because he killed a whole lot of birds later as well. I don't know what his deal is with birds, but we'll move past the birds. So the beach scene where we have that first team of the first Suicide Squad team, because there's more than one, just rushing the beach and then just absolutely getting obliterated. And the reason I put that in there, emotional, because I was like, oh, I think my jaw was dropped. I was laughing. I'm like, what is going on here? And even through multiple watches, this part is just phenomenal. I'm just like, what is happening? His face is exploding. She's on freaking fire. Like, he's running away crying. Oh, now his blood is spelling out Warner Brothers. Like, what is going on? It was amazing. It was insane. It was an emotional high. Like, I was in hysterics. I didn't know what I was like. I was just like, this is amazing, incredible. Like, here for it. Sign me up. I'm totally, that's when I knew I was going to love that movie. I couldn't believe it. So that's the first most emotional moment for me, was just that beach scene, because it was just a flood of emotions. And it was absolutely incredible. I mean, I was going to say it's one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie, but that's really hard to say because I pretty much love every freaking scene in this movie. But that's number one. Next would be Ratcatcher 2's backstory that we get. Like, she has that moment on the bus where she's talking to Idris and she's talking about her father, and we see Taika, which I was so excited to see that Taika was her dad. And you get this, living in the streets and how she started controlling rats and the whole story and her dad's addiction, and then he died, and like all that stuff was so emotional. I cried, like I full on cried. Which I think is the first time I cried in that movie. I think so. And I loved that moment so much because I thought it gives this background to Ratcatcher 2. And I really, really loved it. I loved bringing in that emotion, like to make you care about rats in this. And then it's an insane, blood, gory, crazy, bizarre, off-the-wall movie. And you're like crying. It's like, what is going on here? So I loved that scene. Definitely one of my favorites. Definitely super emotional. Next would be when they are attacking the Resistance. So you've got Bloodsport and Peacemaker and King Shark and Polka Dot Man, and they think they're going to break out Rick Flag. And first of all, this is just clearly very much a penis measuring competition, right? I mean, between Bloodsport and Peacemaker, and I love it. And they're just getting crazier and crazier and crazier ways to kill people, and you're dying like I was dying laughing. I was like, I can't believe this is going on. All of these things are insane. And then the moment just gets completely elevated when they go to save Rick Flag, and he's like, this is the Resistance, they saved me. And they're like, oh, I never saw anybody. What are you talking about? I was dying. I loved that whole moment for what it is, because it's crazy, bizarre, gory, off the wall, and then it's hilarious. Definitely one of the best scenes in the movie. Again, like every scene is one of the best movies or parts of the movie, but I loved that part. I thought that part had me dying. I was so like over the moon emotional. It was so funny. Next would be Harley's monologue, okay? So Harley's monologue about men and red flags, and so she's got this guy, and she's hanging out with him, right? And she's gonna marry him, and then he starts talking about these crazy things he's gonna do, like killing women and children, and she just shoots him. I jumped a mile when the gun shot. I was not expecting that. And then she just tells him, like, you probably would have said, like, why didn't you just walk away instead? Why didn't you just leave me? Well, this whole thing, and I loved that moment because that felt so Harley, right? It felt like Joker broke her heart. She should have known about red flags, and here she is just spewing on about, and it's a red flag, and I just have to do this, and I loved that because it felt so very Harley. It was a great moment. He's crawling on the ground, bleeding out, and she's just crying to him basically about her past and her taste in men being so bad. And I just loved it. And especially she adds in that rest in peace to that beautiful thing between your legs. And I was like, oh, she just said that. That's insane. So I love that part. Speaking of Harley, the next most emotional moment I want to talk about is her breakout, because I love, again, like I just had a perma smile on my face as she's sitting there being tortured, singing that song. And then she just like pretends to pass out and then breaks herself out. She's like with her legs and her feet, like she's insane. And then she just grabs the combat boots, and then when she finds the javelin, like she's just going down. She's got cartoon birds and flowers flying behind her, and she is just kicking ass bloodily all the way down the hallway. I mean, it was just incredible and amazing, and I loved every second of it. And that was an emotional high for me for sure, because I was just like, this is my Harley. I love Harley Quinn so much, and like that was my Harley. I had to include that moment in this list. Absolutely loved it. Now we get towards the end to some of the sad stuff. When Rick Flag died, I cried quite a bit. I wasn't expecting that at all, and he just wanted to do the right thing and to have Peacemaker kill him. I will say the scene was super cool, the way they showed like his heart and stuff, but I was like, oh no, they just killed him. Like, I really wasn't expecting that. I totally expected him to come out of this not dead. So I was really sad about that, because plus Joel Kinnaman actually absolutely killed it as Rick Flag during this entire, I mean, listen, everyone killed their roles. Like, let's be honest here. Killed, no pun intended. But no, Joel Kinnaman was amazing in this movie. So I was really, really sad to see the end of that character. That moment really got to me. Of course, then we have the Polka Dot Man dying, okay? That part really made me cry. And he's like, I'm a superhero. And he was so happy. And he died. And I was like, as soon as he said, I'm a superhero, I think he says, I'm a fucking superhero, something like that. I knew, I was like, oh no, he's gonna die. And then he died like right after. And I was like, no! It was so sad. I was really, really upset by that. I loved Polka Dot Man. I loved his arc and his emotion and his backstory. And I just loved so much about him in this movie. So I was really, really sad to see him go. And it's another moment that I cried. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm crying all over the place. The next one, emotional moment, an emotional high for me, was when the rats and Harley saved the day. I thought that was amazing. I love how Harley, can you tell I really love Harley? How she had the javelin and she's like, I know I am carrying this, and she runs and just, and then I really expected the eye to like explode in blood and gore, and instead she's like swimming in there. So it was like, what is going on? This is beautiful. What's happening? All the rats are swimming through. Like, it was just an incredible moment. Again, an emotional high, right? Another moment that made me tear up is That's My Dad. If you've seen the movie, which hopefully you have, you know that this part was just so you've got Bloodsport and his daughter, and they don't get along, and, she's embarrassed about it, of him and all this stuff. And then when she sees that he, saved this town and saved them from Starro, she says, "That's my dad," to her friends. I loved that moment when she's ready to admit that. And then, of course, next and last is the end credit scene, because I was like, holy cow, they've been telling us the whole time that the Peacemaker series is a prequel, and that son of a bitch is not a prequel. Like, what? The end credit scene, Peacemaker's actually alive. That's insane. What is going on? Wow, over-the-top excitement. Very much a high. Now, I do have some honorable mentions as well, of course, when Peacemaker was about to kill Ratcatcher, and then a Bloodsport comes and saves her. But that part was, I really seriously thought in that moment, my heart was pounding. I thought Sebastian, the rat, was going to jump in front of the bullet and somehow save her, but die. And I was like so worried that was going to happen. And I'm so glad it didn't. I loved that moment because I thought it was really funny how Bloodsport was like smaller bullets. Because again, the competition between them two is just a penis measuring contest through the entire movie, which I absolutely loved. I really enjoyed John Cena's Peacemaker, but I gotta say I wasn't really that sad to see him die. I was like, oh, but then it didn't matter anyway because of the end credit. Of course, several other emotional moments just include all the humor in general. I absolutely loved, like I said, just Peacemaker, just the dynamic between Peacemaker and Bloodsport was phenomenal. But of course, then back on the beach, even the stuff we've seen in the trailers, King Shark, absolutely love King Shark. One of the most emotional moments for me was when Ratcatcher was like, "Would you eat your friends?" And he's like, "I don't have any friends." I was like, no, King Shark doesn't have any friends. And then she's like, "Can we be your friends?" I loved that. I loved that part between them. I mean, there was so much in this movie. I know there's a million others that were in my head that have now flown out of my head, but there was just so many fantastic moments in this. Funny moments, heartwarming moments. When the crew decides to knock out Amanda Waller and actually help the Suicide Squad, help them what they're doing. Loved that because they realized, like, this bitch is a little crazy. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. The movie from beginning to end was fantastic. Like I said, it really technically could be one giant emotional moment. But those are the 10 that I picked out. You guys let me know your most emotional moments of the Suicide Squad down below in the comments. Be sure to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Follow me over on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at MamasGeeky over there. MamasGeeky. Thanks for taking the time to watch this, guys. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much to all of my monetary supporters, my members here on YouTube, as well as my patrons. If you haven't joined yet, please consider doing so. We have some really awesome perks, including a monthly Zoom meeting where we get to talk face to face. Thank you again to everyone who supports me.